9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, here we go. Listeners beware. Y'all are listening to the EC Perspective Podcast, a Kingdom podcast, where we have godly conversations with everyday Christian. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. This is kind of weird.
This is very weird.
This is kind of weird.
I need you to turn the TV off because I'm going to keep watching it.
All right, I will.
I like this show.
Turn off the Rookie TV show, even though it's our favorite. But thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the EC Perspective Podcast. As always, guys, you can catch the podcast on YouTube watching the video. This is the first live video I've done in a few episodes. But you can listen on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, all of those platforms. And without further ado, we're going to go get into this because it is 9 o'clock at night.
I'm sleepy.
And I'm tired. But I promised you guys that I would shoot this episode, and we are going to shoot this episode. And without further ado, the next guest on the podcast is the love of my life, the one and only, my wife, the mother of my children, the motivation behind all the success that I have in my life right now. Yes, I'm trying to get brownie points right now. But no, seriously, the owner, the founder, and the solo performer of Hope Smith Photography. My wife, Hope Smith, is on the podcast with me this time around. Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
I need more enthusiasm.
Well, I'm not going to get loud because Ellie is asleep.
That's all right. So, guys, we super excited about this episode because we're going to be doing a little bit of a recap on our experience at the EXO Marriage Conference. And by the way, welcome to Mi Casa. We're back in my house, and it surprisingly on the video, it doesn't look too bad. I thought it was going to look a lot worse.
No, it's not as messy as it has been.
Yeah, I was going to clean up, and then I was like, you know what? No, I want y'all to see the raw, real, uncut version of our dirty house.
We live here.
Yes. Yes. And it is pretty much dirty 99% of the time.
Welcome to life with a 2-year-old.
Yes, it's very stressful for me. All of my cop buddies know what I'm talking about. It's very stressful. Anyways, we're going to be doing a recap on the EXO Marriage Conference, which took place in February. It was a good experience for us. And then we're also going to give our opinions on the new Discovery Plus. Is it Discovery Plus?
I have no idea what we were watching that on.
I think it's Discovery Plus, but Discovery Plus or Discovery Channel is doing a docuseries, or has done a docuseries, on Hillsong Church being exposed, the mega church exposed, and we were watching it last night. It was her first time watching it. It was my 500th time watching it because I love that series. It was freaking awesome. And we're going to share our opinions on that, and then also towards the end of the episode, I'm going to have my wife share with y'all. We're going to do a new segment this time around, new segment that I like to call Your Worship Set. And she's going to give me 3 songs. If she had to come up with a worship set list, I want her to give me her 3 favorite songs right now.
What?
Yes, it's going to be awesome. Just go with it. Just roll with it. Just roll with it. Don't act like you're surprised. I told you about this.
You didn't tell me about that part.
I did. Anyways, all right. Let's first off, I know you don't like to talk, but I'm going to need you to talk to the people, okay? And kind of share with them who you are, what you do, and a little bit of your background, because I think only you can explain that. I can't really explain that.
What do you mean by background?
What's your background? Who are you? What do you do? Just give us your testimony.
So I'm Hope Smith. I am, like you said, founder of Hope Smith Photography. I am a stay-at-home mom / photographer. I stay home with our 2-year-old all day for the most part. We go out, have fun. She likes to go get ice cream. We go get ice cream a lot because Mom likes ice cream too. And that's really what I do right now. I started photography whenever I was in junior high school, played with it for a little bit. And then really, I guess, whenever the Mother's Day after having Ellie, you got me my camera?
Yeah, I guess so.
And then it just kind of took off. It started with me kind of doing her. I decided instead of paying someone to do birthday pictures for her first birthday that I wanted to do her birthday pictures, and then it kind of just went and took off from there. And so yeah, that's what I do.
I don't know whether I need to lay back or whether I need to sit forward. I don't know. It's weird. So tell us your Christian background. Because for me, I did not grow up in the church. I didn't grow up in the church. I grew up going to church on like Easter Sunday and going to church on the notable holidays. But what is your kind of background?
We grew up, for as long as I can remember, going to church just about every Sunday. My parents didn't miss a Sunday. We went to quite a few different churches. We've been to, I think my sister told me it was like a Pentecostal style church. I don't remember it much. I was really young. But I do remember wearing like the frou-frou dresses and the fluffy socks and all that on Sundays. But I was probably like very young, like younger than 4, and I just like vaguely remember it. And I think I mostly remember it because there's pictures. So we did that for a little while. Then we went to I guess it was more of a non-denominational type church. And then we also went to Palestine church for a while whenever I was younger. And then after that, I think my parents kind of fell out of church, but I was going to Westwood Baptist Church. They had some kid ministries, and I did like the GAs there. And if you don't know what GAs are, I don't know if it's still around or if they still do it or anymore, but it's the Girls in Action, and it was just like a young, I'd say elementary, maybe junior high age girls, if I had to guess. I can't remember back that far. But age girls, and it was just girls only. We did Bible study, we did memory verses.
Was this in school?
No, it was at the church.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool.
And they did it on Wednesday nights.
That's cool.
And then we also went to church camp. It was just the girls' church camp at Piney Woods. And then after that, we went to, I remember being in junior high and high school and going to ET and going to their youth group. And then after I got out of high school, I just kind of, probably during high school, I was active in drill team, and I didn't really have time to go to youth group and working. I got a job in high school, so. And then I didn't start going back to church until me and you started dating. Like I dipped in it every now and then, like once every blue moon I'd go to church, and then I didn't really start going back regularly until we got together in 2014.
And now you're a pastor at Trinity Church. So a very, very extensive background in the church. Me, not so much. Grew up Baptist. Dad was Catholic. Like I said, only went to church when it was a holiday. Other than that, didn't really go to church. But that's kind of cool how two different backgrounds. You have a very extensive background in church. I, not so much. But yet we still ended up being pastors together at a church. That's kind of cool to sit there and think about that, say that. So let's, man, I'm sorry. This thumb right here has been bothering me this whole time. All right, well, let's jump into it because, like I said, it's late at night, and we kind of want to get it. I guess the theme of this podcast is going to be really marriage, and who better to bring on a podcast to talk about marriage than my wife, who is probably going to ridicule me. Like I tell y'all all the time, this is the person that will sit here and tell you that our marriage has really only probably been good. And I'll speak for her, and I'm just going to kind of guess. But would I be correct in saying that our marriage has been good probably the last, 2 years maybe?
I'd say 3, closer to the
3.
time that we got pregnant with Ellie.
Okay, yeah. Probably the best times of the marriage. Probably before that, probably was like really up and down. It was very, very, not stressful, just
Learning.
Yeah, a lot of learning and a lot of maturing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know I personally didn't have a very, what's the word that I'm looking for? I didn't have a good visual of marriage, I guess. Growing up, my parents' marriage wasn't very stable. The marriages that I saw around me were not stable. So it's like I didn't know what a healthy marriage would look like. And when we first started dating, I had only been in toxic relationships. Toxic, if you know, you know. But so that's all I'm going to say on that. But so when we first got together, we actually had been dating for, I guess, 2-3 months, maybe 2 months. And I tried to fight with Eric, and he would not fight with me. And it made me so mad because, well, one, he was just a jerk at that time, honestly.
I was a jerk.
He was a jerk.
I was a big jerk.
And I was trying to fight with him, and he would not fight with me. And I kept picking and picking and picking and picking, and he would not fight back with me. And in my eyes, I was like, if you love somebody, you're going to fight with them, because that's what I'd always seen. Like, anybody who ever loved each other around me.
That's a big misconception.
Yes, they fought all the time. Screaming, slamming doors, throwing whatever, like. And so that's what I wanted. That's what I had in the past. That's what I wanted. Going through phones, throwing phones across the yard, like.
We were not doing that.
Borderline domestic violence, like probably was domestic violence, but we're just going to say borderline. And
yeah,
he wouldn't fight with me, and it bothered me. I'm like, he doesn't like me. Like, he don't care if he won't fight with me, because that's all I ever saw was people who were married and in love fighting.
Yeah.
And it took me some time. Like, I broke up with him because he wouldn't fight with me. I was like, well, okay.
There's other reasons too.
There was, but at that point in
reasons,
time,
yeah.
that's what pushed me to leave.
Not reasons you caused, reasons that I caused, but.
And so we broke up for about a week. And he don't count it. A lot of times he'll say no, we didn't. But
I don't count it. I think it's more of a. We took a pause.
Learning curve.
We took a pause. That's
it was a learning curve.
They took a pause. So, but yeah, probably like the last 3 years have been really good. The first 4, big learning deal. We learned a lot about each other, lived with each other. I mean, it was just a big, man. It was just it's a time period that, thankfully, I don't really remember too much. I really only remember the last 3 years, which have been really, really awesome and really good. And I think as we've progressed, we have really honed in on our marriage a little bit more. Still a lot of work to do. I still have a lot of areas that I need to improve in. I'm sure you probably, can think of some areas that you have to improve in. But that's that's kind of what this whole trip was about for us when we went to, was it Houston? Yeah, it was Houston. Houston, an XO marriage conference. Absolutely phenomenal.
If you haven't been, totally recommend you going. We plan again going in September.
Yeah,
and it's the same
going
exact
in September.
conference. Like
Same exact conference.
It's nothing different, but we want more of it.
Yeah, it was. I don't even really know how to explain it. It was just a great experience, and it was.
And they covered everything. They talked about finances. They talked about your sex life. They talked about your Christian walk. They talked about struggles that they had been through. Like there was a couple who had recently lost their grown daughter to drug addiction.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they covered every single basis you could think of. Grieving, loss, just marriage problems in general, alcoholism.
Overall, it was just great.
Yeah.
It's from start to finish, and it was a day and a half. Yeah, it was a day and a half. Yeah, it was a day and a half, but it felt very long.
It did.
It felt very, very long. A lot of information, a lot of great speakers. We're going back in September because it was just phenomenal.
Where's the one in September?
I think the one in September is in Austin, if I'm correct. Yeah, I think it's going to be down
That sounds
there
right.
in Austin, and I'm actually going to get to be able to take you to Bethel, Austin down there.
Oh, wow.
Where where Pablo took me back in January. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, great thing. First and foremost, when we recap that, what did you take from that experience? Like as far as a speaker, I know there's one speaker that you and I both can agree on we really loved.
Dan Leanne,
yes.
I think I just like listening to him talk.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. But was there a specific speaker that just kind of really spoke to you? Because for me, it was I think the Collins. I can't remember the guy's name. I know the female, Irene, I think, but black pastors.
That's who I was going to choose. I couldn't think of their names.
Really powerful message that they gave, and what really just stuck out to me was when he mentioned that he realized that he wasn't being a good pastor or a good minister to his wife, which caused his wife to slip into her addictions and her problems and everything like that. And he said something that was really powerful and really hit me to my core, and hopefully it does the same for a lot of you men that are struggling in your marriages. But he said he allowed alcohol and addictions to minister to his wife instead of himself, and that spoke volumes to me, because it's like, what are you allowing to influence your circle? What are you allowing to influence the people that you've been given authority over?
Right.
And I thought, because I struggle with that, I still struggle with that. I don't really know how to minister.
And it's hard, and I've talked to this to a couple of my girlfriends. It's hard being a wife to a preacher or just to a man of God in general, because for whatever reason, it seems like being on the outside looking in, it seems like everything's great, everything's fine. People look at your marriage and they're like, wow, like I want that. But then it's like, wives, we struggle hard being married to a pastor, because it's like they give their things, they give their self to everybody, and then it's like at the end of the day, a lot of times we just get what's left over. And kind of what like the Collins were saying, like it's easy to go out and minister to other people, but it's like your people, it's so much harder for whatever reason. Like you would think your people would be easier to be there for, and it's not. And me, like, and being able to lean into some of my ladies that I've become friends with here recently, and just talk about that and know that it's not just a me thing. Because I have a problem talking to people, because especially about my marriage problems, because I'm like, from past trauma, if I talked about something and then I went back, then everybody looked at him differently. Not him, but exes. And then it was just a problem. So going into this relationship, I made a vow to myself that I wouldn't tell nobody nothing that was going on. And we were just going to be great regardless of if we were great or not. Like nobody was going to know nothing. And so that's been, being able to confide in somebody else that my marriage isn't perfect has been hard. But finding that group of ladies that I can confide in has been really helpful, and knowing that I'm not alone in the fact that I know that my husband struggles to helped me. Because I struggle with depression and anxiety just like most people do. And I know it's hard on him because he doesn't know how to he doesn't like seeing me like that.
I don't have to deal with it, yeah.
And it's like, it's hard for me. It makes it harder on me because I see him help other people. And I'm like, well, what about me?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, let's stick on that for just a few seconds because you said something that I thought was pretty cool. You said you came into this marriage, this relationship, and you weren't going to tell anybody the problems that were going on. And I don't know, do you think that's a bad thing? Do you think that's toxic? Because I think that's a good thing. I think,
I think there's lines and there's people.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna go and sit down and have coffee with Nikki and just dog you because I'm having a bad day.
Exactly.
And you didn't take the trash out and you left the toilet seat up and all these little things that really don't mean nothing, but I'm just gonna go and dog you to Nikki because I'm having a bad day. And then Nikki's gonna be looking at you funny. So I feel like there's a fine line. Like, I know I can go and confide in certain ladies at the church or certain friends in general. And if something is going on in our marriage, like, I don't want anybody, and that's something else, like, I don't want anybody thinking that our marriage is just perfect, because I've had people come up and tell me that, like,
all the time.
Friends that I do start confiding in, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
You have problems in your marriage? And I'm like,
yes.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's, look at it, because that was kind of interesting, because I'm not the kind of person that I will go in and tell people what's going on in our marriage. I feel like that is, and I feel like that's where a lot of young people have a big problem, is they want to go and talk to everybody else about their problems, but they won't talk to their spouse about it. And we struggled with that for a while. Yeah. We still do a little bit. I mean, there's certain things that you do that I'm like, gosh, just and but we talk about them, and it might get to a point where, yeah, we probably should have talked about it earlier, but we still talk about it amongst each other. We don't go and share it with other people or let other people know. And it's not that we're trying to hide. It's just we know that there's, I guess, a line. Yeah, and there's an appropriate approach to everything, And again, I'm not the kind of guy. I'm not going to go tell my guys what's going on in my marriage. I feel like that's between you and me. That's something that we need to address. Now, if I felt that you were having an affair on me, vice versa, I think that would be appropriate to go and discuss with somebody. But I mean, just
because some problems in marriage are bigger than the husband and wife.
Oh yeah.
Like me and you just getting into an argument over, something I don't even know, because we don't.
We haven't had an argument in a while.
Probably
I just
since,
thought about that.
Yeah. Like, I can remember our last one, but I'm not going to bring it up.
I don't remember it.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I don't remember
it's been a long time. I think Ellie was probably still a baby.
Oh, that doesn't count. We were still new to being parents, and that's a very stressful time. You can argue about anything at that point in time. Anything will set you off. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about us. We're like, anything can happen that will set us off to get into arguments. So that doesn't count. That's not an argument. I don't think so. But yeah, I thought the Collins was good. Dan Leanne was really awesome. Great speaker. Awesome. I loved.
He is Australian, but he's
like from.
He's from Australia?
No, he's Australian, but he is like Korean or something like that.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Like, when he started talking, I was like, he has a huge, thick Australian accent, and I was like,
and he lives in South Carolina.
Yeah.
He lives in South Carolina, of all places.
It was crazy.
So he's got like every kind of culture experience in his life right now. He looks Asian, he speaks like an Australian, and he's also got a little country in him too. He tried.
Yeah, he tried.
It was funny. I liked him. I listened to all his videos now on YouTube. I thought he was really good. Is there anybody else that you thought, or any other part of it that's just the conference in general that stuck out to you, that kind of changed your perspective on marriage a little bit?
I would say them talk. I don't remember who it was or anything. I'm terrible with names, and like you said, it was a lot of information thrown at us at one time. But them just talking about communication, because I know that's something that we both struggle with, is communicating. And just everything that they poured into us about that. And I feel like we're not where we need to be with communication, but it's definitely, I'd say it's gotten better some since the conference.
It has. I think it's gotten better in the sense that, for me, I know when you're having a bad day, and now I don't take it personally. I just, okay, she's having a bad day. Well, let me help her out. Let me do this. Let me do that. This was a big thing for me. I would always ask her what was wrong, and she would never tell me what was wrong. And that is the most frustrating thing as a man, when your wife you know something's wrong, and she will not tell you what is wrong. And me being a cop, and me being who I am, I just like to fix things. Like, I don't like to leave things unsaid or unattended to. And I would ask her what was wrong. She's like, nothing. And I'm like, I know something's wrong. Just tell me what's wrong so I can fix it. And then that led to bigger arguments and this and that. So I think communication-wise, I've learned to read you, I guess, a little bit better, and know, okay, well, I know something's wrong, but she's not going to tell me. But let's just let it sit for a minute, and then we'll talk about it later, or whatever the case may be. And that, I don't know, that's just kind of me. I don't know what, how you took away from the communication aspect, but I guess I've just been able to read you a little bit better, I guess. Pay attention to you more.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's it. Pay attention to you more. What about you?
I guess I would say, like, I've started being more in tune with your love language, because that was a big thing, and that was something else that they talked about. And that's also a part of communication. Like, your love language is a big communication part. I guess that's, I don't know, that didn't sound right.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Me, I want to touch Eric all the time. I want to touch him. He does not like that. So I try not to.
No.
I'll hold his hand in the car. I'll hold his hand when we're out. Like, I get real anxious in places like Walmart and just being in big crowds of people, especially whenever I have Ellie with me. And so I always want to touch him, and he's okay with that. But I've tried to back off some, because I know he doesn't like that. And I can tell when he doesn't like it whenever I am touching him. And so I try to back off.
Don't get me wrong, I love when my wife touches me, but that's not my...
It's not his love language.
It's not my love language. My love language is completely different, opposite of that.
And he doesn't like being bombarded whenever he first comes home from work. And so I've tried to get better about that, because I'm home with Ellie all day long. Usually by myself, unless I'm FaceTiming his mom, which I do FaceTime his mom a lot, because she'll stay on FaceTime with me for hours while I do whatever, and she just hangs out with me on the phone. But so I try not to bombard him, because I know he's trying to decompose. He has a very decompress. Because he has a very stressful job.
But wait, let's talk about that for a second, because that's a big deal. That is a very, very big deal. I absolutely think, and we talked about this at JT and Rainey's marriage class. If y'all don't know, Justin Todd Herrick and Rainey Herrick, probably we absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. They are associate pastors at Trinity Church. He's an evangelist. They travel all over. You guys can find him on Facebook. I'm just going to give him a shout out, because I love that guy. And I love her as well. They're a great couple. They lead a marriage class at Trinity. And we were talking about this last Thursday. And yes, that's a very mature response for you to have. Okay, I don't want to bombard him, But I think husbands need to realize that when you come home, your wife needs that outlet because
I've been with a 2-year-old all day.
yes, all day long. There's no adult interaction during
No.
that time period. And yes, she wants to talk to you. She wants to tell you everything. She wants to know
And
how you're.
all I hear is mommy, mommy, baby shark, mommy, Daniel tiger.
Yes.
Mommy, snack, juice, all day.
But I think there's a proper balance
Right.
to that.
And I feel
to
like
that.
I've gotten better at not just bombarding you, but you've also gotten better at listening and not getting just frustrated with me.
Yeah, because I used to get frustrated.
Yeah.
But now I just come home and I know it's part of the process. It's part of the process because I try to decompress on the way home when I drive home. That way, when I get to the house, now I'm not as stressed out and I can listen to my wife. Now, I have not been good about just sitting there and listening. That's going to take a while. But I'll move around the house, take my stuff off my duty belt and things like that, and go put stuff up, and I'll listen to her, and she'll follow me around, and I don't get frustrated. I'm just like, okay, if you can.
And I attempt to not follow you into the bathroom.
Yes, that's a big thing. Don't follow me into the bathroom. That is like my alone time. Like,
But I feel like I don't get to go to the bathroom by myself all day. So why do you get the luxury of going to the bathroom by yourself?
I don't know. That's like with me taking a shower. Like that's my time.
Y'all,
It's me time. Okay?
I used to follow him into the bathroom when he would go take a shower, just because, especially when I knew it was a conversation he did not want to have, just because I knew he couldn't run away from me while he was in the shower.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we've gotten a lot better at communication. Still a long ways to go.
Yes.
Still a very, very long ways to go. One thing that I really liked about the conference and then we'll get on to the next segment of the podcast. One thing that I really liked about it was they encouraged and they promoted a time of the year where you and your spouse go off and y'all pray and y'all talk about your vision for the upcoming year. And I thought that was really cool.
Like a week trip.
Yeah, like a week trip or just a couple of days or whatever.
Yeah.
Just take time to get away from your kids and from life and spend time together as a spouse and just spend the day just praying, doing whatever. I mean, just spending time together and then praying and talking about what do you want to accomplish this coming year? What do you want to accomplish in the coming months or whatever? And that was really big to me because it shined a light on how we need to place our marriages as a priority over everything else. And I talked about this in the last episode of my podcast, and I was very passionate about it. I'm not going to get as pumped up about it this time around. I'm going to try not to. But I 100% believe that we need to start putting our marriage before our children.
It's biblical.
It is biblical, but it's practical.
Right.
It makes so much sense. I mean,
if we spend the next 18 years just pouring into our kids and not to our marriage, by the time that our kids get out the house, we're not going to have a marriage anymore because we're not going to know each other outside of those kids.
Exactly. And I feel like I have some kind of liberty to say this because I love my mom, and God rest his soul. I love my dad. They were two great parents. But I don't know. Maybe I should have my mom on the podcast. I don't know if she would do it.
I don't know if your mom would sit here and talk to you.
She probably would. Me and my mom have great conversations. But I feel like that's kind of what happened in their marriage. They had me, my two older brothers, and my mom spent a lot of time pouring into us. I love my dad, God rest his soul, but he was not as he wasn't a perfect man, but he was still a great father. Still a great father. But there were some areas that he could have gotten better at, just like everybody else.
Right.
But I feel like they poured so much into us that by the time I was out of the house, their marriage had fallen apart. And I get so, I'm going to say it, pissed off at parents that say, well, my kids are my number one priority and I will put them before everything. And even when they're married, they will say that. And I get to an extent, like, if you or I were abusive
Right.
towards our children, I think that's where you definitely, that
There's
makes sense.
right.
That makes sense to, okay, yes, I need to put the well-being of my children over my marriage at this point because, you know,
They're in danger.
they're in danger. And to be honest, my spouse isn't acting very biblical. They're not, you know, they're not being very godly right now. But I think that's a bad mindset to get into, that, you know, hey, my children come before everything. I love Ellie. I love our daughter. But at the end of the day, I want her to see what a healthy relationship looks like. And I will say it now, and I said it on the last episode, your kids are only in your house for a season, and there's going to come a time when they're no longer there, and then you're left there with your spouse. And what's going to be left there?
They're either going to be your spouse or they're going to be a stranger.
Yep. Oh, give me some. Man, see, I knew she could. Man, I didn't get her up and give a sermon one
No,
Sunday.
you don't.
Man, she's speaking some truth right now. But yeah, I mean, I think that's super important. I think that's what, and I hope young couples like us start understanding that again, because
And getting a hold of it.
And yeah, getting a hold of that, because we have got to put our marriages first. There are too many marriages out here, and you and I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's marriages that are failing and just falling apart. And I know you have your passion for ministry in other areas, such as fostering and stuff like that. I don't know if this is an area where you are very passionate about, as I am passionate about it, but I am very passionate about marriage and about ministering to married people, because I think it's a lost gem, it's a lost jewel, it's a lost art, whatever you want to call it. It's something that is
It's taken very lightly in the younger generation.
It is.
It's not
appreciated.
right.
It's just not appreciated anymore. It's kind of like oh, this is what we have to do in life, or it's like a milestone, or something like that. It's not something that is valued in saying, okay, hey,
That was the word I was looking for, valued.
Yeah, valued, and people are just doing it just to do it. You know, I don't think people are really truly considering what goes into a marriage, because you and I can sit here and say, you know, we've been together 7 years now. Mm-hmm. Been married, was it 5?
Yeah.
Married 5. Wow, 5 years. Woo.
5 years this year.
5 years this year, and it wasn't pretty when we started. It was, and now to see where we're at.
And it's like a lot of people think, oh, marriage is this big fancy wedding, and you know that's what I originally wanted. Like I wanted the big wedding, I wanted the big dress.
We had kind of a big wedding.
It ended up being bigger, I think, than what we had anticipated.
It was a lot bigger than we anticipated.
But you know, I wanted the venue, I wanted the cakes and the bridesmaids and all of that.
The experience.
Right. And I wanted it to be memorable. And which it did, it was very memorable. But I wanted the show. Like I wanted to show people, like, look what I just did. And we actually ended up getting married a year before we had originally planned on getting married.
Thank God we did.
Yeah, because we thought my grandma was going to pass. And she was really sick at the time, and we were like, she's not going to make it another year. Like, I really wanted her to be there. And we were like, you know what? We're going to get married anyway, so let's just go ahead and do it. And next year we'll just have a big reception. Our wedding ended up being bigger than our reception, and my grandma is still here. I don't know how, but thank the Lord she is.
And unfortunately, my dad wasn't. My dad passed away like a month before our reception.
Yeah.
And
he had told me, and I didn't know why he told me this, but the night of our wedding, he stopped me. I think I was walking back to the reception hall, and him and your mom stopped me, and he told me, he was like, now you take care of him. And I was like, yes, sir. Like, duh. But at the time, you know, I didn't think nothing of it.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I was like, wow. Like, we didn't know at the time, but he was, you know, like, he made me promise to take care of him. And, you know, a year later he passed, and that was really hard.
Yeah, that was tough. That was very tough. But, oh, hell, my dad. Oh, man. Boy, if he could be here now, he would be, oh, boy, good time.
We think Ellie's spoiled.
Yeah. Oh, man. Ellie would definitely be spoiled, but no, it didn't start off great, and it got better over time. And I see this problem with younger marriages that they want they want the show, and it's real cool to do all those things, but they don't consider the cost of getting into a marriage, and that it really truly means till death do you part. I mean, and through sickness and through money problems, through all the issues that you go through. Thankfully, we haven't had to go through anything serious like that, but we've had our share of storms that we've had to go through, and I think during any one of those storms, we could have called it quits.
Yeah.
Could have threw up our hands and be like, "Oh, we're done." But I think we both got into that marriage, into that relationship with
the right mindset.
With the right mindset. Well, I tell people all the time, we didn't want to be a statistic. I mean, we told each other, hey, from the very beginning,
like we're in it.
We're in it. Like the divorce is not on the table. We're not going that route. We'll fight through whatever issue that comes up, and I think that has been really the basis of our kind of the anchor, the strong point of our faith in God to kind of lead us in this marriage. And He knows our heart now. He knows that we don't want that. So I think God honors that. And God honors that, and I think He leads us and guides us through those different seasons in our life. And thinking back on it now, it's been pretty cool. It's kind of cool to think back on it and look at it. But anything else on the XO Marriage Conference? I think it's phenomenal. I can't wait to go back in September. Yeah. But we learned a whole lot, and hopefully down the line we'll be able to minister to more people in marriages and be able to help people. But it's been cool. We're looking forward to it. September in Austin. If you guys want to go, y'all can go to the XO Marriage website and sign up for their conferences. Super cheap, not really expensive. I think we paid actually for one we went to, it was I guess bigger than the other ones that are coming up, because it was like $100 a ticket almost. This one coming around is only like $50 a ticket. That's because it's like half a day in the evening and then half the next morning. So they cut off half of a day for that conference. But still great conference. Money well spent. All right, so let's get into the next part of this, and we'll be very brief on this. But I'm kind of interested in what your thoughts are on the Hillsong documentary, The Mega Church Exposed, from what you've seen so far.
That was nuts. It's like, what?
So for those who don't know, Discovery Plus did a docuseries on the Hillsong Church that came out of Australia. And if you remember the headlines back in, I think it was probably 2020, when this really hit the scene, Carl Lentz was a pastor there, super popular, he was just blowing up everywhere.
Like hanging out with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I mean, he
regularly, not just like once or twice. Like
he was the pastor of Hollywood. Like he had all of those guys.
Who they say? Kanye, Kylie Jenner, Bieber. I don't remember who else.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Get that off the screen. But anyways, this guy was, he was just top of the thing, and then he got caught up in an affair on his wife, and it was just like...
And apparently it wasn't the first one.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't the first one, but apparently it was just a downward spiral for that whole church, and I mean, that's just kind of the backstory on it. There's a lot more to that whole thing, but I'm kind of like you. I'm like, wow.
Like, my brain's still trying to wrap around all of it. I think the part that got me... Is she crying? Okay. The thing that got me the most last night, it's hard for me to stay up and watch TV shows, so I don't know if my brain was like actually soaking in everything. I made him keep the light on in the bedroom whenever we were watching it, because I was like, if you turn that light off, I'm going to sleep. Like, I'm not watching this. And but I think it was episode 2. Yeah, it was on episode 2. Oh, excuse me. The part about him whenever he was at I believe it was called Wave, the church in, I don't remember where they said it was, but at the church.
Like New Jersey or no, it was anyway, Virginia Beach or something
Maybe.
like that. Yeah, Virginia Beach.
But that he was like hammering,
Scolding.
Yeah, sexual morality, is that the name of it?
Sexual immorality.
Into these kids, like telling them, you have to save yourself. Like, if they were dating, like he didn't even want them holding hands. He didn't want them kissing for
dating rules. They had dating rules.
They had rules, like they had to follow.
That's a cult.
And
that's a cult.
I don't disagree.
That's a cult.
And they would these kids would get in trouble if they did not follow these rules. They couldn't hold hands. They couldn't kiss for a year. Obviously, they didn't want them to have sex before marriage, which...
Right, obviously.
Obviously,
yes.
But if they messed up and did,
There's punishments.
Yes, like I get, like, being like, okay, you shouldn't do that. But he, like, yelled, and they had suspensions. Like, one of them was on, I think, like, the praise team or something, and they couldn't be on the praise team anymore for, like, 6 months. The guy was some leader over some group. He couldn't do that for 6 months. And they couldn't have any contact after that for 6 months. He wanted them.
Crazy.
They couldn't text. They couldn't call. They pretty much couldn't look at each other at the church. Like, nothing for 6 months. And then it led the girl into going and getting into another relationship with a guy, and they ended up sleeping together. And so she was like, well, we already slept together. And the guy felt the same, because he's in this church too, and he's being like beat with all these rules. And so they were like, well, we might as well get married. So it pushed them into a marriage that they were not ready for. And it was just bad. Like, and they ended up getting divorced because they weren't meant to be together. Like, they didn't get married for the right reasons. They got married because, we have sex.
Scared.
Yes, and they were terrified of this, what was his name? Lentz?
Carl
Lentz. Yep. They were terrified of him. So they went and got married just because of how scared they were of him, because they didn't want to get kicked off everything again.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
This is all allegedly.
Right.
We haven't heard the other side of the story,
yeah.
but...
so far, on episode 2, this is what... And that's the part that got me. I was like, how... And the part that's crazy about it was, not only was he getting on to these kids and beating this into them, not like beating this into them, but, forcefully, like, shoving it down their throats that, they can't do all these things. He was out sleeping with all these different women, allegedly.
Allegedly. We should be fair and say allegedly.
Right.
I don't want Hillsong to come and sue us for,
slandering.
Yeah, for slandering and take our house or anything like that.
But yeah, so he was out here doing all the things that he was telling them not to do and what he was punishing them for. It was nuts. My mind was blown last night.
I originally started watching that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be judgmental, because I don't feel like it's our place as Christians to judge other Christians, because nobody is perfect. But watching that documentary, I don't judge Carl Lentz. I feel my heart hurts for him, and it hurts for all the people that he affected through everything that he did and everything that church did to people, because there's a lot of stories from volunteers and everything. And
he's watched further than I have.
I've watched it a couple of times, actually. And it just my heart just hurts for all those lives that were just severely affected, and it goes back farther than Carl Lentz. It goes all the way back to, allegedly, I'm gonna keep using that word so I don't get sued or anything.
Like 1978.
Back to the original founder is I think it's Frank Houston, and of course he passed away I think in 2004. God rest his soul, but apparently it started with him. A lot of just sexual immoral stuff going on, and then some of that allegedly was being covered up, and then who's the current Houston? I think it's Brian Houston. Yeah, Brian Houston, who's now,
I was like, I'm not good with names.
the current, I guess, head lead pastor of the entire organization. He's caught up in some scandals now and things like that. I mean, it was just kind of like a
Snowball effect
from the very beginning of why they got it started. And I don't know, I'm kind of interested. I would really love to see the other side of it. I would like to really see what Hillsong, because they really painted a bad picture on Hillsong and made that church seem like, it was just the worst church in the world. Now, I don't know. I don't go to Hillsong. They produce a lot of music, that we listen to, and we love those songs. I don't know. It's interesting to see, a mega church like that. Carl Lentz had a wonderful platform to minister to people that really needed it. And I think people in Hollywood need God more than anything right now. But he had a perfect platform, and he just kind of crapped the bed with it.
Yeah.
He really crapped the bed with it and ruined an opportunity. And I told my wife last night, I was like, I don't think he was ready for it. I really don't think he was ready to be a pastor on that kind of a platform. It just seemed like he got really overwhelmed with the stardom and being a superstar and being around all these Hollywoods and celebrities and things like that. And he, I guess he got entangled with them,
Yeah.
and tried to live the life, and you can't do that as a Christian. You can't live. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not saying that you can't have fun,
Right.
but you can't live a lifestyle like that. You can't live a sinful life, I guess I'll go ahead and say it, and be a pastor. You can't do it. And
I mean, like, pastors, don't get it confused. Like, pastors sin, like, they make mistakes too. But I don't know, y'all just gotta watch the series.
well, here's my thing. I love the fellowship more than anybody. I don't mind having people come over to my house. Let's have a good time. Let's
Okay, let's be real. You don't like
Well,
people
we
coming
don't.
to our
Okay,
house.
I don't really like, but I don't mind going and having a good time and hanging out with people. Okay, we haven't really gotten into the whole
Having people over.
having people over. It's not that I don't like y'all. It's just
He's very picky about who he lets in his space.
no, it's not. It's not picky. It's more along the lines of I'm just lazy. I'm just lazy. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to get better at stewarding, hosting people. It's one of my many faults. But anyways, I love to do those things. I think that's fun, to get out there and have fun. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna go out and have fun and with Kanye West or I don't really know. I don't really like to judge people. The point of the matter is, I'm not going to go out and, get involved and dwell in that lifestyle when I know I'm a pastor, and one, I have to be a spiritual influence.
And people are
shouldn't
gonna
allow-
look at you in a different light.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a problem with Carl Lentz being around those people. I think, like I said, I think he had a great platform and a great opportunity to minister to those people. I just think he
Went about it the wrong way.
went about it the wrong way, and I think he got too involved with it. I think he got way too involved with it. I think there's a line where you just don't cross as a pastor. You fellowship with people, but I'm not going to go out and go drinking when I know that might that the people I'm hanging out with have a drug problem, or have an alcohol problem.
Right.
I'm not gonna go out and do drugs. I'm never gonna do that, by the way. If I,
He's even cautious about CBD oils. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm very cautious about that. But I'm not gonna go do that if I know that the people I'm with, have a drug addiction. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus didn't go to these places and minister to these people and take part in what they were sitting in.
Right.
He went and he ministered to them. He was a spiritual influence, and I think that he just I think he missed a great opportunity. But it's a great series. I absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It was a great insight into how just one small thing cascaded down and created a big problem even 30 years in the future.
Yeah.
So I thought it was good. All right, well, man, this is a long episode. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sticking with me.
Thank you for touching me
through this. Yes, that's her love language. She loves me to touch on her and all those things. All right, last thing. I told you I was gonna make you pick, but we're gonna do this last segment, and it's your set list.
Can I use my phone?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I want to know.
I felt like this was a test, and I couldn't.
No,
cheat.
absolutely not. No. I want to know because, like I told you guys, over the next few weeks, you guys are going to see kind of the people that are in my circle of influence, people that influence me, people that have gotten me to where I am, and you're going to see a lot of different things. And this is one of the things y'all are going to see that I'm really interested in, because I want to see what everybody's favorite worship songs are, because I have a certain songs that really impact me, and I want to know what impacts other people as well. So, babe, if you had to put together a set list, and I mean a set list for like a worship session at church or something like that, what would be your top 3 go-to songs to like really get you in the mood? Wait, do you want me to give my set list first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm real big into Maverick City music right now.
Yeah, me too.
And I love their songs. I think first and foremost, Promise by Maverick City Music. Promises, I'm sorry, is a really good one. A second one that I would go with is Rest on Us by Maverick City Music. I really like that one. And then the last one, that's tough, but I think I'd have to go Mercy. That's a Elevation Worship and Maverick City Music collab right there. I think those 3 songs right there for me would be my go-to set list.
Okay, hold on. I gotta see if this is what I'm thinking it is. Okay.
You can't play that. It's copyright. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, well.
No, if they did hear it, then it's probably going to be copyright. But it's okay. They'll block it out on YouTube.
So I would say this is in no specific order because I can't put these 3 in order. How Great by Corinne Hawthorne. That's a good one. Oh wait, no, just kidding. Not How Great. That wasn't the one I was thinking of. Know You by Corinne Hawthorne.
I haven't heard that one.
You got to listen to it. So Know You by Corinne Hawthorne. I'm gonna say Gyra by Elevation Worship. I was really surprised you didn't say that one.
Well, that was the battle.
Right.
Gyra, Mercy, and Old Church Basement. I love all 3 of those by that collab right there. It was good.
And I'm gonna say Send Me by Bethel.
Oh yes. So you see, we didn't have any Hillsong. I'm sorry, Hillsong. We love y'all, but we didn't have no Hillsong on our set list right now. That's crazy.
But my 4th, if I could have a 4th, would be I Speak Jesus. That's a good one.
And if I could have a 4th, I'm actually going to throw a Hillsong one in there, is Oceans.
Yeah.
I love Oceans by Hillsong.
Everybody loves Oceans by Hillsong.
That is a powerful song right there. But yeah, awesome. Well, before we get done with this, tell people where they can reach you to schedule any photo shoots that they might be interested, or if any businesses would like to reach out to you. Where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Hope Smith Photography on Facebook, Or I get confused on my Instagram name sometimes, y'all.
I think it's like HS.
Yeah, because it's HS_photo21 on Instagram.
On Instagram. So y'all make sure y'all go give her a follow on Facebook and Instagram. She's very busy this time of year.
One thing that I have found that I like, I think I like photography, the capturing. There we go. Let's use that word. The most so far is births. So thank you, Pablo and Adriana. If you need a quote on a birth, please hit me up. And I would love to talk to you about capturing your birth.
Awesome. That's cool. All right. So real quick before we end the episode, real quick recap. What are your final thoughts on everything that we've kind of talked about? If there's one thing that you could kind of share to sum this up to everybody, what would that be?
Overall, I feel like this was a very big growing experience because I did not want to do this. I was terrified.
This podcast?
Yes.
This episode?
I was terrified. As y'all see, I went and got my comfy hoodie because so nice growth, and I feel like we communicated very well.
Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts on what we talked about? No? Nothing?
I'm tired.
I know, I am too. My final thoughts is if I could just encourage people, especially marriages, one, hey, get lined out to go to XO marriage conferences. They're great conferences. You will not regret spending a couple of $100 to go and spend some time with your spouse and just spend some time just worshiping with them and listening to the Word of God. It's awesome.
The worship was awesome. We didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that, but the
worship was great.
It was on point. It really set the tone for the entire thing, and it was awesome. But other than that, I would just encourage married couples, whether you are newly married or seasoned married, to just continue to pour into your marriage. Take the time to pour into your marriage because
find friends with healthy marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Get connected with other couples who want the same thing as you.
Yeah, definitely. I just you got to build your relationship. You got to build it. If you don't pour into it, if you don't spend time pouring into it, surrounding yourself with people
like-minded.
That are like-minded, it's going to struggle. It's going to suffer. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If you want a healthy relationship, you need to find you a Christian couple. You need to find you a Christian couple and let them kind of lead you and guide you and share with you and minister to you, because it's life-changing, it's life-altering. And it's just awesome. But I would encourage you guys to just spend time in your marriages to do that. So, well, that's it. We made it through.
We did it.
We made it through. We did it. I appreciate y'all watching this episode. Thank y'all. And I look forward to having another episode with you guys next week. I will share with y'all who the guests will be. And just thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you took something from it. As always, guys, share the podcast. Share it with your friends, your coworkers. Share it with your circle of influence, whoever. It's a blessing to us, to be able to do it. She has her photography. I have my podcasting. So it's awesome. Everybody has their...
So this means you're going to be my model next, right?
I guess so. I guess I don't have a choice. I do need pictures for the podcast. So, but thank y'all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Remember, God loves you because Jesus Christ died for you. So let the Holy Spirit guide you. Again, we'll see you on the next episode.
In the words of our 2-year-old, peace out.
Peace.